Hey, it's Jeff here, your YouTube reviewer of New England brews, and welcome to NEBR, New England Beer Reviews. From Two Roads Brewing out of Stratford, Connecticut, this is their Conntucky Lightnin with an alcohol by volume of 8.5% ABV. And this is basically a sour ale that is aged in Kentucky bourbon barrels. It comes in a 750 milliliter bottle with the corked and caged top, as you can see. You may recall what happened last time I had one of those on that shipyard review a few weeks back, where it took me forever to get that cap off, so hope the cork will come off more easily on this one. I was at the Two Roads Brewery during my recent visit to BeerCon, where I met up with Natalie Nightwolf. If you watch my channel, you would have seen excerpts from that. And but I happened to pick a hotel that was literally 3 blocks away from Two Roads Brewing, and of course I had to stop. And I stopped in there and tried a sample, and I picked up this bottle there. So I'm going to get right into this. I've never seen this before ever. I didn't ask them much about it, didn't do much research on it, so it may not be in New Hampshire where I live, and I'm not sure how widely spread out it is in other parts of New England, but it was available at the brewery. So this is actually dated. You can see here it was bottled, and the bottling date on this was February 17th, 2016. So it's, as I review this, it's about 10 months old, almost exactly. So here we go. We're going to give this a shot, and hopefully it'll be quick and easy this time. Let's crank off the cork part first. There's the cork part. And let's see. Oh my gosh. Oh, this one moved. Not like the last time. This is going to come off good. There we go. Pop. All right. A little bit of mist up top there. Let's pour it into this Troge glass. We'll say that Natalie and I tried a Troge beer while we were there. Troge had a booth at the BeerCon. All right, there we go. It's not New England, so I didn't review it on my channel. Anyway, so take a look at this. Boy, there's a lot of aroma on that already. Wow. So take a look at this. Slight haze. Big, foamy, off-white colored head, cream-colored head, with the sort of almost reddish-orange tones to it. I know it's very difficult to see on the camera. I've tried to light up the place as best as I can, but if you're looking at it closely like I am, you see more of an orange, almost like reddish tone to this, and the big head, of course, you can't miss that. It looks like there's bits of sediment floating around in here. Could well be that. I'm not quite sure if that's the case. I believe it is. So, and I like beer that have those yeast sediments floating about. So let's get into the aroma on this. Wow, this is not, it's basically a sour style, but I expected something more sour. This is really fruity. Like cherry. Now it's aged in bourbon barrels, Kentucky bourbon barrels. I'm not picking up a lot of hard liquor esters on this. Picking up some. I'm picking up more of a fruity character with a slight, maybe tart bite. Also a touch of sweetness mixed into this. Sort of a bready character, so it definitely has a lot of interesting characters. Not what you might expect immediately in a sour ale. But it has some of that there, it just seems more subdued. But I'm picking up a good yeast sensation, which I talked about the yeast floating about, so I think that the yeastiness is coming up fairly nicely. So let's check out the taste. Ooh, it's almost wine-like. Well, it's bourbon. I'm not really a big bourbon drinker. I like whiskey and scotch. Those are probably my two favorite. Maybe a little bit of rye. Those are probably my favorite sort of hard liquors. But I'm not a real big bourbon drinker. And I had some, but this does have a winey sort of character to it. I guess akin to what you might expect from a bourbon, at least from my experience, my very limited experience. So bourbon lovers, please do not thrash me too much. But yeah, this has like a grape winey sort of character, a fruity sort of character. And there's really no sour sort of, not sour tart bite to it. In fact, it's really on the smooth side, almost like nicely balanced, and there's only a slight tart bite at the end of this. And 8.5%, so the booze is not notable at all. at least to me, well, it says here sour mash ale aged in bourbon barrels. Not being a home brewer, that might mean something a little different than just a sour ale, sour mash ale. Okay, that means there may be more of the barley and the various multi-characters that are kind of coming into play here, which is really kind of what I'm picking up in the beer, in the taste. It's just interesting how kind of fruity this is. And I'm not talking about fruity hop. It's almost like a fruity juicy, and I'm picking up more of a grape sort of thing. And then there's this slight warmth at the end, the slight kind of quick touch of bitterness on the back side, and that's probably just the warmth of the bourbon that's kicking in on the tail end. It's the bourbon barrel that's kicking in, coating the back of my throat to some extent. But yeah, it's a nice beer, and again, I don't know the distribution range on this beer. As I said, I picked it up at the brewery itself, so it may be out in other areas, but I'm glad I picked it up. I picked it up on purpose because I'd never had it before, never seen it before, so figured that was one for me to pick up, because most of the beer they sold at the brewery that day were beers I had had or had seen around or would get somewhere else that I might be able to find them in the store, in my area. Since Two Roads has been in New Hampshire, where I live, for maybe 2 years, not quite that long, a year anyway for sure. So anyway, it's a nice beer, and it's nowhere near as sour or tart as I expected it to be, but it has a bit of that, a touch of it, but it's not really a pucker up kind of. It's more like a sugary sweet, it's more like a more bountiful sweet malty character with a sour bite that kicks up at the backside. That's probably more of the bourbon barrel bite that's kicking up on the backside. So that's the way I define this beer. So that will do it. This is from Two Roads Brewing, Conntucky Lightnin. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you again next time.